summer and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
It's not really my responsibility, first of all, to make you laugh. That's what you have the other two guys here for. Kind of professional for it. But me, I'm like Opie. Except I'm not as dopey as Opie. But my job here is to try to make sure things work. And then they don't work. But I don't take the blame. I'm not responsible. And that is my responsibility. Good morning, folks. It is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. A wonderful day here in New York. I hope it's a wonderful day wherever you are. Actually, not bad. And my friend Craig Johnson posted a little temperature gauge from his car last night in Albuquerque, New Mexico. 74 degrees at 6 p.m. I'll take that any November. I'm not a cold person. I'm a cold person, but I'm not a fan of cold. So there's that. Today in Slate.com, the top story of the day. If my husband goes down on me, something terrible might happen to him. Wow, what the hell is that all about? Listen, there are some guys who don't like it, first of all, that whole thing. But they might use that as an excuse. But the crux of the story is COVID fucked this guy up. He's on some kind of lung stuff and antivirals, but what is it? I forget the medicine he's on, but he could get a fungus that'll from a vagina that will kill him. This is my worst nightmare. There's got to be a horror film made about this. You know, the pussy that killed Fred. Poor Fred. Not necessarily Fred. I don't really. His name isn't in here, to be honest with you. But I don't know. To me, life would not be worth living. I don't know. That's all. It's just a very confusing story. Now, they got me blocked. I'm behind a paywall. I am paying for these bullshit stories because you get to the end of it and say, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. But anyway, something. If you're on all these medications due to long COVID, I'm just saying, before you go down, check the label. Does it say on the label, do not eat pussy on this medicine or whatever? They say don't drink don't drink with this kind of stuff. I don't know, don't eat peanuts. That's the same. I'm lost here this morning. It is election day, and which causes a lot of confusion down in Chinatown, by the way, which is a very old joke, and I'm sorry. It's very racist, and I apologize for that right up front. But I am trying to get myself some negative attention here. As you know, I've had an epiphany lately that we need to have some fighting on the program, something to spur some negative interest. Because that's the only thing that will get us ratings, get us like a reason for people to share and say, look at these assholes going at each other like Landau and Brennan on Jim and Bob and Danny and whatever dopey show. I am under the impression that one of the biggest comedy shows in the nation, morning shows, is stealing some of my bits. Really, I'm not kidding about that. I don't really want to get into the specifics right now, but let's just say, and it's not Howard Stern. Of course, Howard Stern has never stolen my bits, although Jackie will be here tomorrow. And if people are familiar with my career, what the fuck have you been doing with your life? In my radio days, I was called a Howard Stern wannabe, and that really, back in the day when Opie and I were both getting started, WBAB, Babylon, New York. I was called a Howard Stern wannabe by a program director, and that stuck in my core, and I hated that. But now Jackie is like a regular on the program here, and it kind of validates what he was saying, which it kind of bothers me because, first of all, that's not the reason why I have Jackie on so often. I just like Jackie, but there is that. But no, Howard Stern is not the morning jock who's stealing some of the bits we've been doing here. I'll explain once I kind of nail this down. But man, they just started doing it, and it's really close to a bit that we've been doing now. I just want to say, I'm not saying that the bit is exactly this, but comedians who are funnier than Segura. Bum, get out of town now. Even with the bum you get out of town, it's all in there. Is that a coincidence that somebody with a radio show, morning radio show, is doing comedians that are funnier than Tom Segura, and including you're a bum, get out of town? Could be a coincidence. We'll find out. Anyway, I will let you know more about that as I find out more about it. I'm not going to make the accusation yet because, well, why? Why not? I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe I will. Anyway, we have two comedians who are funnier than Tom Segura here today, and maybe two other guys who are co-hosting the show. I think it's probably time to put that. You know what? We might, but we might put that to bed today. Because for one reason, GD is probably down to breaking windows or walls or something, and we can't have that going on. Anyway, we're gonna welcome the guys in right now. About I think it's time to put this to bed and say that GD is definitely funnier than Tom Segura.
Thank y'all for so funny how this shit's a break.
We're naming GD today. That's awesome. That's good.
The truth is, so now that somebody's stealing the bit, it's just not that funny anymore. Nah, I'm
all right. Fuck this. Mind dog coffee. I don't always drink coffee, but when I do, I get the shit.
So
Mind
does Willie's
dog
hat,
coffee.
by the way. Willie's hat does too.
He washes it in Mind Dog coffee.
Yeah. So, Willie, now you are the resident expert in this. The allergy to peanuts, I've known about. Allergy to like certain food types. Have you ever experienced anybody with an allergy to pussy?
To vagina?
Yeah.
They call them gay men.
I mean, yeah. I mean, right? Yeah. Wouldn't you think? That's a good point, GD. I agree with that. Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, you can be allergic to pretty much anything, I suppose. Yeah. Was it? I thought it was the medicine, though. Didn't you say something about
the medicine that is it reduces his ability to deal with fungal stuff? So if she's like a yeast infection, I don't. It's all complicated for me. I didn't go to vagina school. I don't know.
I mean,
I barely know what it is. I mean, I know where it is, and I know I've seen one or two in my life, but I really don't know the whole entire function of the whole thing. It's very complicated. There's all sorts of things in there.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well,
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be all sorts of things in there. It's like, wait a minute. No, it's kind of like the refrigerator section of the supermarket. You should go in. There should be some eggs, maybe
There's everything, and nobody explains what it is. It's like, what's that?
Yeah, you should see some eggs, maybe some milky stuff.
And nobody they never hand you a flashlight when you're on your way. They're like, you're gonna need this.
Yeah, matter of fact, if you take a flashlight down there, they get a little bitchy about it. Actually, I found out and if you make an echo sound down there, oh shit, that's like the worst. Like, cause I've spread it apart before and went hello, and they get super fucking. They get super mad about that.
So yeah, I don't know why it's about.
Or just yell, "Who's that in there?
Yeah,
who's in there?"
You know, there used to be a 2-female act called the Untamed Shrews, and I mean, I saw them probably at least 3 times.
Bachelor party.
And yeah, have you heard of them, GD?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, these were and this is like back in the early 2000s. These ladies were just raunchy as hell. Like, one of them would put her foot up on the stool next to her and like be talking to a dude in the front row. Be like, hey, you want to just climb on in there? Go ahead. You know, like, you can say hi to Pete. He's been in there since last week. Like, dude, these chicks were fucking just phenomenally raw, bro. Like, the Untamed Shrews. I don't know whatever happened to them. They're probably retired by now.
So they need a sign at wherever they're performing, like, you know, where you go into a deli and it says making sure that, you know, certain foods are undercooked can get you sick and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think that's the thing, is that you got to make sure it's not undercooked. You got to heat everything up nice and good before you get your mouth down there, and you'll be fine. Is really that's what you got to do to avoid that problem.
Okay.
Prime the engine.
Well, we're off to a good start this morning, so maybe we'll get some insight. I don't know. I just don't know. We need to run a commercial now. It just occurs to me, like, this program is pretty gay to start out with.
You're welcome. Okay. I'm glad I could help with that.
It is.
Let's switch it up. Fight.
Right. So I'm gonna run. This is probably the last time I'm gonna run this commercial. I'm going back to the regular Naked Wines commercial starting.
Wow, it's so funny. It's so funny, bro.
But it's also so long. This is the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, this is the Bhagavad Gita of not Bhagavad Gita. This is the
Inagata.
This is the Inagata Vita of wine commercials.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to get behind schedule, and we're already behind schedule. So I'm gonna run this damn long Naked Wines commercial that is not really gonna sell a lot of stuff. So
you know what? I disagree. I sent it to a bunch of people yesterday. I had one lady tell me that she just joined like 2 weeks ago, which I thought was a real bummer, because I was like, damn it, that means she's already on and she can't use the promotion.
She just joined Naked Wines? Wow.
Yeah, she just joined Naked Wines like 2
weeks ago. She didn't use our.
But yeah, because she didn't know about our thing yet. You know
Fuck her. She should quit Naked Wines immediately and then re-sign up under our.
And then re-sign up with our promo. Yeah, no, I kind of indicated
Let's run this damn commercial and get it over with, because it's like we'll be back in a few hours.
Welcome to a better way to buy wine. NakedWines.com is a customer-funded wine business. We don't just sell wines, we make them happen. Since launching in the UK in 2008,
and why is that woman in the
Angels have helped us invest in over 159 independent winemakers in 14 different countries. Turns out, it's better business for everyone.
Come on, woman.
Our winemakers get to sell all of their wines and make a living. We make the same margins as everyone else, and have a lot of fun in the process. As a wine drinker,
I know, I was wondering that too. I was like, damn, what is going to happen in that house?
Anyway,
I think that's a tune in next week to find out.
Wholesale prices. And you can be sure that All of our wines have been lovingly made by a talented winemaker and stripped of all the costs that add nothing to the flavor
if it was
or
on
quality
during Up All Night
of the
with Wanda
juice
Shear on
in
the
the
USA
bottle.
Network back in the day.
Support
You didn't do it right.
independent winemakers. Get better
Right.
wine in return. With
Look
the
how
support
long it
of
takes to drink, like, one sip of wine.
300,000 wine drinkers,
Everybody can hear you.
independent
can hear you.
winemakers up
Yeah, I know.
front.
I'm not even listening to what you're
This
saying
way,
anymore. That was a good
they get to
the guy with
spend
the damn
all of their attention on making you the best wine possible.
Now,
World-class
that's not even wine she
wine
was drinking.
direct
That was like a
from
cocktail.
talented independent winemakers.
I had one friend message me
A better
back and tell me
deal,
that it made her
up to
horny.
60% off market prices. A better way to discover tasty new favorites with over 2 million reviews from wine drinkers just like you. Become an angel today and get started. Visit minddogtv.com and click the banner on the homepage.
For some reason, when you say Mind Dog TV, she smiles like, okay, I like Mind Dog TV.
Yeah, she did. I did notice that.
I was just testing. Our first guest is Emma Kay. She's been here before. I don't know if either one of you guys were here when she was here last. I think not. Anyway, I just seeing if she would see the start of this program and say, "I'm out." But I like when people come back because that means it didn't totally suck the first time, or they're complete masochists, which both fit the actual kind of guest that we.
Yeah.
Well, she is from Jersey. She's from Jersey, so
that makes her a masochist to begin with.
Probably.
Or very tough. Or very tough masochist.
All right. She is the second funniest woman in New Jersey. We don't know who the first is. They're keeping that a secret. Nobody knows. I think it's like the JFK files. Biden was supposed to release that information, but we don't know yet. So welcome back, guys. Say hello to Emma Kay.
Hey everyone.
Hello, Emma.
It's Lynette Palladino. She is the number one. She is who beat me.
What? You just spilled national security secrets.
Sorry, I don't really care. It's election day.
I thought, are we saying your name right? Because I thought it was pronounced okay.
Okay, I go by Emma K sometimes, but generally it's Emma Kiernan.
Oh. Well, if I could start off on a serious note, and I saw a post that you did yesterday about your health conditions. I hope you are okay. Just want to just reassure you that I have a lot of friends who've dealt with that, and it's not as bad as well, I shouldn't say it's not as bad as it used to be. Though the people I know that are dealing with it have made remarkable comebacks and doing very well. And I hope we didn't trigger it.
It's been like this ever since the last time. I don't know what happened really.
I think it's kind of coincidental. So
it just kind of hand in hand, I guess. Yeah.
Are you okay? You look good.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good today. I'm having a good day. So
is it a day by day thing?
Yeah, every day is a gamble. You know, I might wake up and stand up and fall, or I might wake up and be cool for the next 5 days. So it's come and go, but figuring it out.
I'm so
slowly.
Sorry to hear that, but again, keep the hope up because I know lots of people who've gone through what you're going through, and I had a funeral this weekend, but two people who have dealt with it, and I said, "How you doing?" They said, "I'm great. I'm back, almost back to normal. I feel like my old self." So.
Oh yeah, there's always hope for sure.
Yeah. So are you performing, or can you perform?
Yeah, I've been doing some performances. I was just on Staten Island Comedy Show, doing some random stuff. I got a lot of mostly corporate private gigs coming up, but
I saw a picture
if I can't
of you
stand
with
up, I'll sit down. Yeah, me and Steve.
What was that about? Were you playing one of his shows?
No, that was the Staten Island Comedy Show. That was the TV taping.
Very cool.
But yeah, no, I've worked with Steve a bunch of times. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. I think the last show you were on, he was the second guest on that program.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So because since the last time you were here, I've talked a lot about this idea about, and we talked about it when you were here last. The idea of labeling, women comics, women comedians, female comedians versus male comedians, and how it really doesn't. It's if you're funny, you're funny. But it occurs to me that clubs are doing it to attract a certain demographic. Because I've been talking to a lot of female comedians. The guys don't want to talk about it, but female comedians want to talk about it because it does feel like you're being singled out. Like, what if you're equal, you're equal, right?
I think a lot of it's like, let me make sure I have some diversity on this flyer so that I don't get held for that. And I see comedians complain about that too. That's not just, just bystanders. There's plenty of comedians that'll say, oh, look at, incel night over here at, Broadway Comedy Club or whatever it may be, neckbeard night over down here. But like, I don't like being labeled or singled out. It is nice to have variety. I don't love like women's only nights or whatever, but I understand the purpose of them. But yeah, no, I think when dealing with comedy as a whole, if you're funny, you're funny. You're either a comedian or you're not a comedian. Also, with you guys talking about the way you think vaginas are, I don't know. maybe women's nights would be a good start to learn.
It's not that they seem to have a full understanding of it. It's me. Yeah, it's just me. It's just me. I'm it's like I need a map to everywhere I go, and there's no map for that.
But there's women that need a map, Matt, and that's the truth of it. There's women that can't identify the parts of their body, bro.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that's true. So thanks you for making me feel better than that. I qualify for a women's only night on some comedy club. It's 4 women and me.
Well, that's more of a penis issue.
Yeah. Anyway, so what has been? Where have you been performing since the last time you were here? And anything exciting and new in your life?
Let's see, exciting and new. Oh gosh, that's a hard one. Not entirely exciting and new, I guess. No, but I've been doing a bunch of shows more locally now. I was going into the city a lot and it just got to be exhausting and expensive. And so I've been trying to do more local stuff. Like I said, more like private corporate stuff because that's where the money is. And been like refining my clean stuff a lot and trying to get more of that so I can, squeeze more out of that than, on a show, do 30 minutes instead of 20 or whatever and not have to worry about offending someone. So as far as that's concerned, I mean, everything's going smooth. Everything's going well.
Yeah, I love.
So when you talk about cleaning up your show or making, is it this? Are you doing some of the same material and you're just trying to take all the fucks and shits and dams out, or is this like whole new blossoming? Gee, I love the way this, kind of.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Yeah, it's not squeaky clean for sure. No, I mean, some of it's like toning down other jokes. A lot of it, if I'm writing, I'll make sure if I'm writing one joke that's a little bit inappropriate, maybe I'll try and start one that's not also and build off of that and try to keep it a little bit even so that I'm not like too far ahead of one or the other. And I can, and I can always use some clean stuff in a club. It's not, going to be the death of me. So it translates either way.
Wow. Do you do any political stuff?
I try to stay away from it.
She said she's working clean. Weren't you listening?
Yeah, there's politics, man. No, I mean, I do little jabs here and there. Like I have a joke about how the rabies vaccine gave my cat autism, stuff like that. Like, but for the most part, I try to shy away from politics. I feel like honestly, my political views are all over the goddamn place too. So like, how am I gonna sit there and rip on one when I'm also sitting there ripping on the other in my head. So
I think that's the best way to do it, is to be able to be an equal opportunity ripper.
Sure, yeah.
If you're gonna do it,
get the whole room against me.
Just curious, because today is election day, and here, there's really no reason, no reason for you to go out and vote here. It's all like a dog who's running for dog catcher and local.
Yep, exactly.
And I'm just wondering if there's any. I know in Ohio and Virginia, I think Mississippi has a big election today, a governor, which might be the first Democratic governor if he wins today in a long time down there. So there are certain places that have big elections going on, but not here. New Jersey, nothing.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Nothing that big, no.
Yeah.
Is there an election for best female comedian that's going on right now again? Or
I believe it's next year during the midterms.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll register in New Jersey.
I appreciate you. I got some dead people's ballots for you.
Yeah. So now this and I'm sorry to kind of go back to this, but your health thing, is that gonna kind of because you don't know, you said it's day by day. So if you're booking stuff, you don't know if you're gonna make it. Is that?
Oh no, I'll make it there. I might have to use a cane, or maybe grab a stool or something like that. But it's a really ironic thing to have MS as a stand-up comedian. So I'm trying to incorporate that in there. Then the whole title of your job is stand up, and you can't do that. It's kind of fun, but yeah, no, I'm working on it.
Wait a minute. MS, is that many sisters? I don't understand. You're not an only child. I don't.
It's mighty stable. Mighty stable.
Oh, mighty stable. Okay.
Mighty stable. Yeah.
I have a couple of friends who, and they're both very different, but comedians who are wheelchair bound. Mm-hmm. One of them is super bitter. I mean, he's angry at able-bodied people, and it comes to the point where it's not funny. Don't ever let your illness get you bitter about people.
No, I'm not bitter about the illness, so why am I going to be bitter about anyone else?
Yeah. I can imagine it would be different if I spent my whole life in a chair. I could definitely understand where he's coming from.
Sure,
but as somebody who's a comedian and supposed to be making people laugh, to be angry all the time and just always spewing venom at everybody,
right?
It's hard to be his fan,
Sure.
It's counterproductive.
The last thing I want is for other people to know what I'm going through. Why would I wish that on anyone? If it's gonna be one person doing it, then I got it, no problem. I'm happy everyone else is healthy.
You're a hero.
Yeah.
Now, is that the reason why your website's not working? Because I tried to go to your website to learn more about you, and it said it's not working. So it's affecting your website.
I'm pretty sure I just didn't pay, to be honest.
Okay. I didn't know it was affecting your website. Yeah.
That happens a lot. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I gotta start the switch on somebody's website. I just decided. I forgot all about it. I was supposed to do that early this morning.
And one more thing, I was trying to learn about, because like I said, whenever we get somebody on that I'm not familiar with, I try to do quote research, and I went to your Facebook page, and I saw posting for Funny Not Funny episode 2.
Yeah.
And so I was like, is there an episode 3 or 4? And what is or did happen with Funny Not Funny?
So there are a few. Yeah, there's it's probably less than a full season's worth, but there's a few. Funny Not Funny was a product of the pandemic. Like a lot of other comedians decided okay, well, I'll just do a podcast then. So I jumped on that bandwagon. The basis of it was actually, ironically, comedians that were also struggling with health issues, whether mental health or physical ailments, and how the adversity of dealing with that and still trying to be humorous and funny and using that as as comfort and medication therapy, how that's brought them along. And you meet some really interesting and inspiring people, man. I've had people on that had muscular dystrophy, that are almost completely crippled to the point where, even talking to them, it's hard to understand, but man, they're funny, and most of them are happier than any able-bodied person I know. And that's really, refreshing to hear. And it's inspiring. It is.
Yeah. I was reading the story about Bruce Willis recently about how he's completely nonverbal now, but he's still very much himself.
Yep.
He still does things that prove that he's witty and sharp and funny, but he's just nonverbal now.
Yeah,
I would love to just get into his brain and ask him how he feels. I know he's nonverbal, but to find out if he could communicate anyway, how he feels about people saying he's dead every other day on social media.
Right.
These celebrities.
Elon Musk is working on that being a reality, believe me, because him and his little brain chip are already starting human trials.
I'm not a big fan of that.
But it would definitely accomplish what you just asked for.
Yeah.
What did Glenn Campbell have? Does anybody remember Glenn Campbell?
Yeah, he had Alzheimer's dementia.
Yeah.
Dementia.
Okay, because I was thinking because in some cases, some people, like you're talking about Bruce Willis, but with Glenn Campbell, when you put a guitar in his hand, you would barely know that he had anything different.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I didn't know if that would be the same with someone who has a craft that they're really good. And so if you took a comedian and just gave them a microphone, if all of a sudden they would perk up and start telling jokes.
I think it's more like muscle memory kind of a thing when it comes to that. But I mean, I'm sure some people could, that it's kind of like those who have Tourette's. There's people that have tics constantly, but then they start singing or playing an instrument or something like that, and it's just gone. And it's incredible, really. So I would imagine that would.
We had a guy on with Tourette's a couple of days ago, and he said that when his brain is fully engaged, you wouldn't know it. I mean, the more he gets engaged with something and is using his full brain, the less that happens. It'll happen mostly when he's I don't know.
It's definitely a worry for me with my hearing because my hearing has gotten so bad. I mean, I probably, unless the crowd is right on top of me, I haven't heard a crowd in probably 2 years. I don't hear.
Okay, first of all, the crowd is on top of you. That's an orgy. That's not comedy.
You guys crowd?
William muted.
Those are the shows I'm looking for anyway.
William muted.
I can hear him.
You're not really muted.
Am I muted? Was I?
No, I was just fucking with you.
Always the mute. Maybe.
Oh, you're muted again. No, you're muted.
I'm not.
You're not falling.
The next thing, I might just yell ball sack next time. I don't know.
Catamaran.
Yeah. Labias.
There's a part. One part of there.
Willis was I don't know. He's a harmonica player, blues harp player. I'm wondering because guitar is a whole different. It's manual. Blues harp is. I wonder if he could play that, or if anybody's even tried that with him. You know what I mean? Because that'd just be interesting. I was a fan of Bruce Willis. Obviously, when he was in Moonlighting. I don't know if you even remember that. Well, it was like you were.
I remember the show. I've heard of it.
Sybil Shepherd. Yeah, but that was classic wise guy banter, and he handled that very well. So, the movie stuff, then he became this action hero guy, which I wouldn't. That's not my thing. I like the fast talking wise guy stuff. Anyway, it's a shame to see that, and but for me, I'm already halfway there myself. I make jokes about that, but when you get old like me, you can see that coming. You can feel it coming. It's not far down the road. It's a scary fucking proposition.
I get scared for you. I get scared for you. I see it coming for you. I get scared for you.
You're muted.
Ball sack.
Nice. Yes.
Good with the callbacks there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now, in Jersey, now you say Staten Island. Was it? I forget the place now. It's not Uncle Vinny's. Uncle Vinny's is in New Jersey, right?
Oh, this was actually at a TV studio.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a live taping.
Oh, very cool. Is that weird? I mean,
Yes.
was there a live audience there, or
there was like a very small one, but yeah, there was. It was different. It's funny. So there's this drummer like co-host, right? It's kind of like set up like a late night type thing, and then you get like your 5 minutes and you're off. But while you're doing your 5 minutes, this co-host is like super eccentric co-host who had like disco ball pants on. Like I don't even know how to explain it. He kept doing like rim shots after like every sentence I'd say. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, and it just kept throwing me off and throwing me off. I'd be like in the middle of like a word and he'd be like, whoa, like, and like rim shot. I'm like, oh, this is not going to end well. Like, I just remember that I like went over to another comedian and I was like, I really fucking hate that guy. Like, I really fucking hate him.
I'm wondering if that's because they get so many comedians who aren't really funny, and they need
to help the audience know when to laugh. Sure,
that was the punchline.
At least let me get to the punchline.
Right. And see, and I think. Yeah, he was too exuberant is the problem.
Yeah, he was a little bit overzealous. I think he just kind of liked the spotlight, to be honest. Which
I think we should all get gigs there and just fuck this guy up.
Do it.
Like,
do it.
Turn on him. Like,
all right.
That would be a good part. I mean, the audience would love it. I think if everybody if all the comedians just turned on the drummer and say,
just go up to him and steal his sticks and get
stop that. Stop that. Your timing sucks.
Let me tell the joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, I've never had a problem with rim shots because I always hear those in my head anyway when I'm telling my jokes.
What else do you hear in your head?
Is
it always delayed? Like, is it always delayed like the commercials? Like
probably. Actually, that wah 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 is actually one of my phone notifications. I have that so that it can randomly burn people sometimes.
That's
I like it.
Yeah, there's nothing more beautiful than, like, it doesn't happen every day, but on days that it happens, man, that's like I literally will bask in that moment for a half hour if like something, say my wife drops her drink or something, and then all of a sudden my phone just goes whoa, because the look on her fucking face when she gets made fun of by my fucking phone is priceless. Like, I didn't do that. And then she'll just look at me, fuck your phone. Like.
All right. Anyway,
Matt, you have deer in your neighborhood, right?
Yes.
Are they starting to
beer? You say beer? Yes.
Deer.
I know. It's kidding.
Yeah. There's like, I'm sorry, I'm distracted because there's like a buck and a doe doing their mating dance thing. They're like chasing each other, and I don't know. I'm like rooting for the buck, because he's like really trying hard. He's like pulling out his best moves, and the doe is like, I don't know. You're not bucky enough for me, and I'm just
you also want a reason to masturbate here in a few minutes.
Let me just say, because I've studied deer behavior, the male of the species in white-tailed deer is the most caveman of all the males of any species. They sit around, they lay around in their bunker all day while the woman goes out and hunts for food, takes all the kids out and goes away. He only comes out when it's time to fuck, and then he doesn't take care of his family at all.
Isn't that kind of lion behavior? Lions do that too, right?
I was going to say, are they? You said whitetail, aren't they black? That sounds black to me. I don't know.
Blackface whitetail.
But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's if the deer gets put in like a zoo, so it's locked up. That's what.
And we don't see bucks unless they're out looking for some. Now, did I tell you the story about when the buck attacked me in the yard and wanted to fight me?
Well, I know, but they may not.
Not the hot tub one. Not the hot tub one. I was coming back from a gig, and I was bringing guitars back to the back door of the house. I had two guitars in my hand, and I heard what I thought was a horse coming up behind me, like galloping. And I turned around sideways, and he stuck his antler in my gut. and hit me, and I went flying like 15, 20 feet, and I rolled around. I dropped the guitar. I still had one guitar in my hand, and I got up, and he did this like, "Come on, you want to fuck with me?" And I was like, "Hell no!" And I was hiding behind the barbecue, and he was coming. He was coming for me, and I finally just ran in the house and closed the door and I didn't go out to get the guitar for like hours.
Fuck out of that. No. Is this the buck? Is this the buck that you got his fawn hooked on drugs?
No,
because that's not his father. Because once you give a fawn drugs, you gotta expect the father to come after you.
Yeah, no, that was like probably almost 10 years ago when I got attacked by that buck. But I gotta tell you, no, Will, you would the baby fawns look like innocent. You could kill them, you could knock them out, you could fight them, you could buck those bucks. They're badass dudes. So the Milwaukee Bucks didn't name their team the Bucks because they're pussies.
They're animals. They are.
I mean, I will say
they named them the Bucks because they wanted to get paid. That's why they wanted to get paid.
I will say that when I was trying to hunt by hand, it was usually does in the yard that would come to the yard. I will say that like jumping on a deer with a rack is a much different endeavor than jumping on a doe for sure.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those things, those racks it's like bone. That's hard as shit. That like
they are big though, and they're big. The bucks can be probably, I would say, 350, 400 pounds of real muscle, not like humans. Like And I was pretty buff at the time. I was working out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of steer wrestling. I feel like in the situation, I you know what I mean. But because I'm real weird, bro. If I got hit out of nowhere by a fucking deer, like I would snap. Like the rational part of my brain would stop representing me, and I would fucking freak the fuck out. And the next thing I know, I'd probably be trying to fight a fucking deer.
I hate to interrupt you, but you said your brain would stop representing you. When did your brain ever represent you?
Thank you.
I listened to your life story, and it sounds like of all the people in the world I've ever met, you have been least represented by your brain than any other person I've ever dealt with in comedy.
Often on the marquee it says, Will Conway, king of bad decisions.
That's true. That is true. Listen, I'll tell you this, and for as many bad decisions as I've made in my life, I really wish people would start giving me credit for all the bad decisions all the bad ideas I've had and actually didn't do. Like the terrible, dude, I've stopped myself.
Those three things would not define your life. Emma, I'm sorry. This is supposed to be about you, okay? What do you? Okay, no.
Thank you,
so Emma, what do you think of Will's life?
Okay,
she
doesn't.
I did go to. Now, hang on. We got to let her know. I did go to prison for robbing a flower shop. So I mean, and I've done a lot of drugs.
I'll keep that in consideration. It has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. What the hell is hunting by hand? Is that like an East Side Strangler kind of thing? Like hunting?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like 18 months ago, a little while ago, we were working for a rodeo grounds. My wife and I, we were the groundskeepers for a rodeo grounds. And so every morning and every evening, because we lived out in the boonies, like deer would come on to our property. Like we would have 5-6 deer in our front yard, and twice a day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm kind of I'm an I grew up in the 80s, and I'm a dude. I'm Midwestern, so I had the thought of, these deer are always there. They're always, trying to see what little food they can get or whatever. I'll bet you I could sneak one of these bitches. You know what I mean?
But why?
I don't know, you know what I mean? Because they were always there. They were always present. And I was just like, man, I gotta at least try, you know what I mean? And I got within 15 foot of a deer, approaching it on foot, like very, very slowly and methodically. It was probably the third time I tried getting one of these fucking deer. And on my third attempt, which all were different days or whatever, but I made sure to pay attention to the direction of the wind and make sure that it couldn't smell me coming. And I was very light-footed. One of the things my wife hates about me is I'm a bigger guy, and I usually trot around loud as fuck. But when I make a decision that I want to go light-footed, you're not going to fucking hear me. And
so you're light in the loafers. Okay, we got it. You're light in the loafers.
Yes,
Keep going.
I am a little light in the loafers, and I think everybody knows that by now.
We've heard the Naked Wines commercial, all right?
Yeah, exactly. There's pretty much no question anymore. You know, when I was in my 20s, gay guys used to tell me I was gay, and I just didn't know it yet. I really think it's coming out now. Like, I'm 42, and it's like full court pressing me like a motherfucker. But I still love vagina. Anyway, back to the hunting thing. So I get the good angle, I get the right angle on it. It's where, like, and I'm with it, and then the fucking car comes around. But my idea was that I could get close enough from like the rear quarter angle. If I get close enough to this thing, like I said, I've watched a lot of steer wrestling. I could hop this fucking deer, grab its fucking head, and roll it down and break that fucking neck and kill a deer by hand. I'm sorry, if I do that, my dick would be so fucking hard. Like, are you kidding me? That's like one of the most erotic fucking like ideas in my brain. Like that, I don't know why, and it's probably weird that turns me on in some way. I should probably talk to the doctor. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I think it sounds like a fabulous idea to try and hunt a deer by hand. I do. I really want to try and kill a wild animal with my bare hands.
Oh, you're muted.
That's concerning.
You're fucking delusional, dude. You're not gonna kill a deer. The deer's gonna win. I've seen. Listen, I know you're a big guy. I know you're strong. I know you have incredible tolerance for pain. It's so much so that you can get a nut shot off and still just take yourself to the doctor or whatever. But I have seen much bigger guys get fucked by deers. I mean, a buck.
Get fucked by them?
Yes.
Do you watch like deer porn? You know that's against the law, man.
No.
You watch deer wrestling? What's the damn difference?
Which is perfectly legal.
When hunters go out, they spray doe pheromones all around, and then the bucks come out. And then if the guy is not, if he's within like 10, 15 feet of the buck, and he's not got his gun, he will be taken out. But and there's tons of stories around here of guys, and there's film, there's video where the buck just takes over and fucking destroys these big old fucking hunter men.
Right. Well, like I said, I was attempting to get a doe. I do think that bucks would be much more aggressive and much more dangerous. Like I said, those racks, the rack of antlers. I mean, that's a whole different thing to contend with. But when you're talking about a doe, it's going to be smaller.
Remember, they take care of they're not that small. If you get up really close,
I was right. Believe me, I know what size it is.
Well, you had a kid, a yearling or something. Because,
oh my God, no!
I'm telling you, I live with there's probably one right outside this door right now.
Yeah, but have you seen their necks? Their necks are not that big. That's what I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like, bro, it's like, have you not watched steer wrestling, bro?
You need to say the kind of person who would have been out in front of the flower shop and saying, "You're not thinking this through."
Matt, I think there's a message from Peter for you concerning Will. I think Peter has sent you a message. You should check your inbox. I'm pretty sure.
Peter?
I'm just joking. No.
No, that's my wife's nickname for me. She calls me Peter. I wonder if my wife emailed the show.
So, Emma, do you live in a urban area or a rural area? New Jersey's got can be close to
both. I'm in the suburbs, so it's not rural, but it's definitely not an urban area by any means. We've got plenty of deer.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
You have black bear? Because Jersey's known for black bear coming into
we have them now and then. We had one in town maybe a couple weeks ago. It's mostly deer fox, sometimes a coyote.
You think Will could beat a baby black bear?
Oh my God! Now see, a bear, that's a whole different thing. I don't want to fight a bear.
Oh, you pussy.
Yeah, thank you. I am what I eat.
Bear wrestling videos, and I bet you
want to take on baby does. Baby does. You're like Andy Kaufman of
Bambi boxer.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe I need to start talking shit about midget wrestlers. When you get this whole motif going, like maybe I could start talking shit about midget wrestlers, and then maybe I get beat up by a whole bunch of midget wrestlers, and then they can convert.
It would only take one. It would only take one.
The ways of not being a little person hater, and then collectively together, once they've like helped renew my mind, we can all go to Estreville and stop the madness of the Estreville midgets.
What? See, you're mixing metaphors here. You're saying midget, and then you're saying little person. You got to stick with one or the other. I know midget is the offensive one right now, but if we're trying to offend,
well, they call it midget wrestling, don't they? That's
yeah, no, they don't care. Every little person I've talked to doesn't give a fuck if you call them a midget. But I think again, it's context. Like if you go up to a little person and you say something derogatory and use the word midget in that sentence, they're gonna be fucking mad. Yeah, they're gonna be fucking mad at you. But for the most part, they don't give two fucks if you call them a midget. Like and many times they refer to themselves that way. So, dude, that's why just the whole offense bullshit just drives me crazy.
I'm gay. I feel that way about being called a fag. Me and my fiance call each other fags constantly. Like her father-in-law calls me a fag constantly, but it's all in love. So like I don't give a fuck. You know, if someone's screaming at me, then I might say something back. But like,
what's the intent of it? Yeah, why doesn't the intent of words matter anymore? You know what I mean? Like I don't give a fuck what the word is. What's the intent behind the word?
Yeah.
Like when people call you a retard, you take that personally because. Oh, never mind.
I know my first wife, to annoy me, would call me her husband, and that used to just really. Yeah, see, I felt the same way.
Yeah,
it had to be. You're not just a husband. You're her husband. You're a possession. She possesses you. You are her husband.
But she was the one that okay. She was.
I know you don't speak for every lesbian woman.
I can try,
but.
I can try.
I am generally hated by most. First instinct, lesbians meet me and they don't like me right off the bat. They take one look at me and say, "I don't like this guy."
Lesbians are awful, by the way.
What?
We're terrible.
No.
We're terrible. Oh. No, we're awful. Have you ever dated a lesbian? Because I have, and they're absolutely wretched people.
Okay,
I actually have, but and I didn't know it for a while, and then.
Well, it probably wasn't until after she dated you that she became one of.
Yeah, I made her that. No, she was that before. Before I just didn't know, and she was using me as kind of like a Mike Johnson kind of conversion therapy. Like I was like the one to try to. I don't get that at all.
You were the test to see if she could actually go for men.
That's
like, maybe I can do this.
Let me pick the grossest guy I could find, and if I could handle him, then I can handle any man.
But that's a lot of men. I mean, that's too with lesbians, is they're always like, "Well, you've just never had a good dick," and it's like, "Well, listen."
Yeah. I was at a gay bar. I was in my 20s. I was at a gay bar, and
come on.
And this woman came on to me and she says that I was in my 20s. She says that I was feminine looking enough to turn her on, but masculine enough that I might basically I was like a good breed, like an in between. Like I was masculine looking, feminine looking, but
lesbian is really what you're saying.
Yeah. So she took me home. And she was the one that actually taught me how to perform cunnilingus. And so, so I actually learned.
You learned from a man.
It's way better if you're taught. I have to say, it's way better if you're taught.
And she was like an instructor. She was like, no, and like very, very good. By the time that night was over with, and I started dating women. When I went back to to my next date, they were like, "Oh my god!" My fiance said, "Oh my god, you fuck like a woman," and I was like, "Yes, yes."
I've been told that, GD. I've totally been told that. But that just means that you're attentive. That just means that you're attentive and that you pay attention to their pleasure. That's all that means.
And she tapped out. She didn't tap out. Yes.
Yeah. By the way, I'm glad you got to meet GD because this is actually his last day on the program.
Wait a minute. With all the shit that Will is threatening to kill deer and he's got to hunt them down for 3 days, and I just say that I was taught to perform cunnilingus by a lesbian, and I'm off the show.
No,
you didn't even mention how I pee on myself before I go out there. You didn't even mention that.
I'm glad you got to meet Will also because this actually is his last day on the program. Now, I was just looking for an excuse to say that. I don't really mean that ever.
Will did that whole story, and his heart rate did not go above 60. Okay, I was monitoring him.
I'm just thinking that this woman who teaches cunnilingus, she could make a fucking mint. She opened up a school on how to do it, or a online course.
That was part of what me and my wife thought about doing. Is we thought about doing like educational videos for OnlyFans.
I put out on social media years ago that I did not know my way around a vagina, and I'm not one of these guys who's going to brag about something I don't have a skill in. But and I, what? Sometimes I got lucky, and sometimes I didn't. But it was always like throwing darts in the dark for me. And I've never had a woman say no. This is because I think women are afraid to hurt
most of the time,
the fragile male ego by saying you're not doing it right. So they're not going to give you instruction on it.
Well, it kind of takes
a lot of guys can't handle
the room too. Once you're just like, hey, you're doing it wrong, it's kind of like, okay, I'm out now. Like you can't really get the mood back after that.
The mood is one thing, but for future reference, give me some pointers here.
No, I think it'd be way smarter it would be way smarter for women if they were listen. If it's gonna hurt his fucking feelings and he's gonna fucking dip, then that bitch ass dude isn't for you fucking anyway.
Yeah,
okay? So tell them what the fuck you like, tell them what you don't fucking like. You know what I mean? And see if they fall in. Because here's the thing: if you never tell your fucking partner what you really fucking like, you're gonna be miserable all that fucking time because you want to do shit that your partner won't, probably wouldn't even think to do you know what I mean? Exactly. Like all that kind of stuff. But I think
there's ways
that
to do
communication level needs to increase for sure.
There's ways to do it and ways not to do it. I think just being like, no, you're doing it wrong is probably not the way. But to be like, hey, let's.
I think the root of the problem with most heterosexual women, anyway, or I shouldn't say most, but a great deal of them go through life without really having orgasms on a regular basis because of that, because they don't want to, and then
they fucking fake them and let guys think they're doing shit and fucking listen, ladies, stop faking orgasms. Stop. It's the original participation trophy. There's no fucking reason to fucking do it. You know what I mean?
I'm tired and I just want to go to sleep. Well,
you are literally encouraging mediocrity when you fake orgasms.
Oh, you're muted, Will.
Ball sack.
No, you're not. But there is a good reason for it. I'm tired. I've had enough, and I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah,
that's the reason for it.
I get that.
So Emma, when it comes to Jersey mics, okay, are they any better than regular sandwich stores?
No.
I was trying to make a comedy thing on a Jersey mic.
That was a good turn, bro. I appreciate
it. Better than a Subway, but probably not better than a good deli for sure.
We just had a Jersey Mike's open up here, and it's like, this ain't Jersey.
Oh, they're all over the country.
They're in South Dakota, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Long Island doesn't need that. We have our deli. And I don't know what do you call them where you are? Will, are they They're subs out there, right? They don't call them heroes.
Yeah, I like hoagies. We don't even we don't have delis and shit here. Like Subway is like it. Like I don't think I've seen a deli anywhere in this fucking state.
Wow.
I'm sure Craig Johnson knows where a deli is in Albuquerque, but I have not seen
I wouldn't be so
wait a minute. So where do all the Jews go to eat if you don't have a deli?
There are no Jews in New Mexico.
I mean, I'm sure there's some. There's got to be
probably
some.
one.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
No, it's like there's not a lot.
I mean, even in New Mexico, even Mormonism is still big here.
If there's a Jew in New Mexico, it's probably lost in the desert. Like,
I mean, that is kind of their thing. That is kind of their thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's that was one of the craziest things when I started learning geography and shit, and I knew that Israel was lost in the desert for 40 years. But then you look at the area that they were fucking lost in for 40 years, and you're just like, how the fuck did they spend 40 years in this amount of fucking land?
Yeah.
Like, this is a few days journey.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what it was. Somebody kept saying, I'm pretty sure we're going the wrong way. We got to turn around. And they get just so far, and then that guy would say, nah, this is the wrong way. We got to turn around. So that's basically
oh my God, that makes sense. That does make sense.
I would have gotten lost on purpose at that point.
Right.
So we are streaming today on a new network called PBM TV. It's public broadcast.
For the last time.
Music television. For the last time, yeah, maybe. And they're opening up new opportunities for comedy, for yoga. I don't know, anything really. I just want to let people know about that. Emma, are you a digital creator, or you just do stand up? Because a lot of people are now doing, as part of keeping my name out there and to keep working, doing reels of crowd work, but some have turned to doing sketch work and all this kind of stuff, short pieces. Are you doing any of that?
No, I'm not a creator by any means. I'll put some, not even so much crowd work. I'll put clippets now and then of my set, and the only reason I've been doing that is I recently got a joke stolen from me, and then performed right in front of me. And it was
how mad were you?
Oh my God, I was fuming. And I know that she stole it from me. I know she's seen it before. I've done shows with her before. It wasn't parallel thinking. It was a joke. And I called her out later on for it, but it actually ended up coming in handy that I had so many recordings of myself doing that joke.
Right.
And so I threw it up there. I threw it on, TikTok. I threw it on whatever, all the reels, and said, okay, you know what? I'm plastering this out there now because it's mine, and I'm solidifying that, and I've got my proof. And that was the end of it. But that seems to be more the reason that I use it, is almost like an insurance safety net.
It's interesting that you're using it to protect against theft.
I didn't before for the other reason.
Yeah.
That was an argument I made many years ago with musicians who were worried about putting stuff online with people stealing their music. Like, once you put it online, it's pretty much copyrighted. It's not a legal copyright, but it's proof. But there's so many questions here now. She's in the crowd. She knows she's working the stage and doing your joke. She knows you're there, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if she forgot, like, where she heard it. Or what I mean?
Yeah, that could be.
And it was because I hadn't seen her in probably a year, maybe 6 months, a year. So it had been a while. And I mean, she was all happy to see me when I got there. We were, I had no problem with her. We were cool. But she went on literally right before me. And I opened my set with that joke. And
to me, the analogy here is I steal your wallet. I pickpocket your wallet. And then we're hanging out someplace, and I say, "Oh no, let me pay for that," and I take out your wallet.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was like.
Yeah,
like, I was so
bad.
I was like, man, if she had only gone on after me, like that would have really shut it down. But I called her out the next day. I didn't call her out at the show. I didn't want to be that person and cause a scene or whatever. I did my set, which was freaking awful.
Kudos to you for that.
Oh man, I'm not gonna be that person. The next day, I privately messaged her, and I was like, hey, and I was even really nice about it. I said, hey, I heard your set. we're both using a joke here. You know, I've been using this since 2017 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, maybe I can help you form another joke with a different punchline or something. I was like,
that's so nice of you.
Giving the biggest olive branch I can, man. And because I didn't want to be like flat out like you stole my joke, you know, like I don't want her to get defensive and stuff. I want to have a conversation about it. And she's like, at one point, but she kept saying, well, you know, no, you know, it's a little different. It's a little different of a joke. It's a little different of a joke. And I'm like, it's not a little different. It's a joke. That's the joke. And she's like, well, can't we both use the joke if we're not on the same show? I'm like, this isn't joint custody of my joke. Like, no, we cannot use the same joke if we're not on the same show. And so she just kept going back at me saying, well, I'm going to use a joke. I'm going to use the joke. Which if that were me and someone called me out like that, immediately, no, I will not do that joke anymore. If you're saying that's your joke, even if I didn't steal it and it's just like parallel thinking, whatever, that's your joke. Cool. Like moving on. That's just what you do. But she got to the point where I kind of had to put her on blast a little bit and contact some people, because the last thing I want is someone hearing that joke before hearing me say it, and then I'm the hack. So you know, and it's like, you know, your biggest death wish in comedy or any kind of entertainment is ending up being called a hack. So
well, yeah, and like you're not gonna allow yourself to be made to look like a hack with your own fucking material.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's like double whammy, like everything. And I love the joke too. If it was just a stupid joke that like was a filler that I could just not do, I'd be like, whatever. But like, I love this joke. So like, you know, like I want to keep it.
You said it was your opener. It's probably
my
very
opener,
solid,
man. Like it's oh god, it was so frustrating. But yeah.
Chappelle has a story like that about a guy who saw him do a joke, asked him if it was okay if he borrowed it, and then he made it part of his act. And then Chappelle confronted him like, you said you were just going to use it one night, and you know that's a big part of my thing. And the guy was like a big enough person in the business, and Chappelle was just starting out, and he said, here's $50, it's my joke now. And basically, yeah, and he had to accept it. He felt like he had to accept that. So it's just a weird thing.
Wow.
There was a comedian we had been on like 3 shows together, like in real rapid succession. It was like during the holidays. This is a few years ago, and he had such a great joke. I mean, it was like a 3 or 4 minute bit. It was so well written, and I'm something of a wordsmith at heart, and I loved it so much. And every time he told it, I was so like, oh man, this is so good. And I told him, I said, man, your bit, it is so great. I love it. It's fantastic. And so the 4th time we were on a show together, he went up just before me, and he did the bit, and I came up after him, and I said to the audience, and I said, I love this guy. I said, that bit he does is so good. I wish I'd written it. And then I started my routine by doing his joke word for word. And the audience just sat there in silence for like 30 seconds while I did this. And he was in the back laughing his ass off because he understood what I was doing.
Yeah. Let him know this is the last fucking time, bro.
Because I love that joke so much. I just wish I had written it. It's just like, man, it's so fucking funny. And he does it so well. And I did it for like 30, 35 seconds. And once I heard his laughter and the audience didn't realize what I was doing, I stopped and I went to my own routine. You know,
you were the guy who was on here talking about other comedians not liking you, right?
Yeah.
It's just refreshing my memory on that.
Are you having a cigar? What are you doing?
Yeah, just the flavor of it. It's kind of got the flavored tip, so I don't have to light it. But yeah,
right.
It's just
okay.
Strange group of guys.
I'm so sorry, Emma. Thank you so much.
I love it. I love it. This is what I need at 9 a.m. Are you kidding?
You do look like you're enjoying yourself. That's good.
I have fun. It's all fun.
Now I have a question for you. No, about because this girl, I'm fixating on this joke stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you know that the rest of her act or everything else she does is her own, or is it all stolen from somebody?
She's just a hodgepodge of different.
It's a trust issue, right? Once you catch them stealing, you got to figure that they're stealing everything. No,
well, that's it. I mean, like if she's done it to me, then I'm sure she's done it to other people. Like
Right.
you know how much of it, I don't know, but I mean, I could probably pick out the ones that she did right because they're
those are the really bad ones, right?
Those are the bad ones.
Yeah, it's weird because I know a lot of many comedians start off by emulating their heroes and doing.
Sure.
You know, I think with Stanhope, he was basically when he started, he was doing Dice Clay's act pretty much. You know, pretty much verbatim, like just trying that out until you find out what you can do as you and not be somebody else. So, but generally, that's with A-list celebrities that they're emulating, not
no
necessarily
one's emulating me, I promise.
not their contemporaries that are going to show up at the club at the same night as them. So
right.
it's just a very weird thing. I don't know how I would go on. Seriously, if I
honestly,
did that,
since then, it's been like probably 3 months since that happened. Almost every single show I've done has been like a little off for me. And I don't know if it's like that like subconscious, like almost like a fear of something, like, or that there is someone out there that has stolen a bit that maybe I'm saying that someone's hearing now, or, like the same thing. And it's almost like a weird paranoia that's like triggered me in my head. And it's kind of funny because the joke is actually like a somewhat like incestual joke. And so I sat there, I was looking at my fiance. I was like, if you had asked me 10 years ago what I would be doing at age 38, fighting over an incest joke would not be it. Like that would definitely not be it. But I here we are. So
I got into a heated discussion with born again Christians about incest because it was, first of all, it was about LGBTQ stuff, and then they were equating that to incest and all. It's all sins in their mind, and it's like, well, if incest is a sin, think about this now. According to your Bible and according to your beliefs, God created Adam and Eve, created Adam, then made Eve from Adam's rib, and then they had 2 boys. There had to be incest, and it had to be part of the plan, not just the comeback is, well, God always gave humans the ability for free will to choose to sin or not.
Such a cop-out.
In this case, it was part of the plan.
Required. It was required for the existence to continue. Yeah.
There's no comeback for that. Like,
technically there is a technicality. If you read Genesis, first there's a creation story where it says God created man and woman. He created man and woman in his image. Okay, and then later on, it talks about creating Adam. So now Adam is the third person created. And then he makes Eve from Adam, which means there's another couple already out there who we don't have a name. As a matter of fact, the Jews named that woman Lilith. So, but they never named that other guy. So I'm just saying. So there may be a loophole in there.
I feel like it depends on which Bible and which person was writing that particular part of that Bible.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean that part's actually in all of them. They just glaze over. They just gloss over it.
I don't know if it's in all of them. And that's the other part of it. We got a Bible from KFC at the funeral the other day. Not Kentucky Fried Chicken. Knights of Columbus.
I'll have the 9-piece and the Bible, please.
with every meal, whatever those.
Can I get the 9-piece but hold the corn? Yeah.
No.
It's the New American Bible. Go ahead.
You know that if there was a KFC at a funeral home, there'd be somebody just they'd have a honey packet, and a biscuit just eaten up by the fucking casket.
Getting crumbs on the corpse.
Yeah, crumbs all over the suit. You gotta reach in there and brush them off.
Them before, after every single service.
Yeah, leaning over the corpse with the biscuit. Oh, pop, we're gonna miss you. Oh, yeah, we're gonna miss you.
Now, did Will say something there? Because I think he was muted.
Fucking
Ball sack.
Yes. Oh my God, that's fucking great.
So yeah, I'm glad we've torn that subject completely. But the Bible they gave is the New American Bible.
That's broken too.
Yeah, well, and it's completely different. It comes down with how to read the Bible. It's got all these different sections in it about who wrote the Bible, and it's got like collaborations and all this kind of stuff. I think, well, now you're just muddying the waters.
Like about the author on the back kind of a thing.
Yeah. I have to tell. I used to work with this guy who, no matter what you did, he had to one up you. No matter what you talked about, he had to one up you. And so I said to a friend of mine, someone said, watch this, watch what I do, watch this. I said, just go with me. And so we're just having this conversation. And I said, what's his name? I think his name is Bobby. Yeah, Bobby. I said, Bobby. I said, man, I have an autographed copy of the Bible signed by the apostles. And he goes, yeah, I got a copy. Yeah, it's signed by Jesus. Yeah, I'm like, okay. Okay. You don't, and I looked at him and I said, you don't get it. You don't know that you're doing this, do you? It's like, you don't know.
I had a friend that looked just like Jesus, and me and him, we brought like a little folding up chair or a little fold up table, like a little square one, and we put it in front of a Barnes and Noble, and I put a stack of Bibles in front of him, and we
oh my God, that's so fucking great.
We got kicked out real fast. It was so worth it.
When you say it looked just like Jesus, you mean the drawings and depictions.
The white Jesus, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the white Jesus.
Even it could, all of it. It's just like nobody knows.
No.
Nobody knows. It would be really funny if he was just like an ugly, short,
homeless
really
guy.
funny look. Yeah.
If he looked like Dave Attell.
I love to go to thrift stores and look around and stuff because they got interesting shit in there sometimes. And I found this "What Would Jesus Do" board game, and what it does is, and it's meant for teens to like help young people to help teach them morality, kind of moral standards of the church or whatever. And it'll give you a situation, and then it'll have 3 choices, and one of those choices will be the right answer. One of those choices will seem like the right answer. And then one of those choices is definitely not the right answer. Right. There's a guy in Albuquerque named Chuck Parker that like he's dressed like Jesus. He's done some Jesus stuff. And I would love to get together with him.
Because they're turning things to wine. What kind of Jesus stuff?
The look of it, like he has that long-haired, look. And if you put him in a robe, like, people think, oh, there's definitely Jesus. But like, I think it would be great to like play this game with someone dressed as Jesus, but they're just predisposed to give every fucking wrong answer to these questions.
That game would just be called "What Would Willie Do?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, Emma, it's been great to have you back. I appreciate that you came back, because that means you didn't feel like abused or disrespected your last time.
No, not at all. No, I had a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you being here, and do please come back sometime. Make this a regular stop, and you're fun to talk to.
Great meeting.
Absolutely, it's great meeting you guys. Have a great show.
Yeah,
good luck with the MS.
Thank you so much.
Emma Kiernan comedy? No, Emma K comedy. Emma K comedy.
Anyway. MK.
Emma K. I'm okay. You okay? I'm okay. You okay?
I'm good.
Are they really doing a real version of that show?
What?
I saw it.
Live action?
I think it might have been fake. I really want them to do.
You mean a live action version?
Yeah, live action.
I would love to play Mr. Garrison.
Right. Our next guest is here. We got to keep things moving here, man. I'm the Opie here, remember?
Okay.
I'm keeping things moving. First of all, before we bring them in, we have to talk about Creative Live. You guys know about Creative Live? Well, you know about Creative Live, right? As opposed to Creative
They have all sorts of stuff. No matter what your creative thing is they have
I wish
for you.
I wish there was some kind of special discount we could get them to
There
offer.
is a special discount for Coffee with the Dog listeners.
There is.
I think it's up to 70%.
70% off everything store wide?
Yeah, like 70%.
It's almost like we don't even have to play the commercial now, but we do. So I'm going to play. It's time to play.
It's time to unleash your creative excellence. Dreams won't work if you don't. They never happen overnight, and they rarely follow a straight line. Excellence is the result of the hustle, consistently pushing to do better. And success looks different for everyone. CreativeLive.com charts paths and tailors content for students. But they also encourage independent thinking and exploration. Go outside of your comfort zone.
Look,
who knows?
Richard Branson
you might
is
actually
a student
like
now.
it.
Oh no, he's a teacher.
Right now, you can get up to 70% off through this exclusive offer for Coffee with the Dog. CreativeLive.com has site-wide sale for Coffee with the Dog listeners. Save up to 70% off. Go to minddogtv.com and click on the link on the homepage now.
And this black screen is brought to you by Black Friday, which means lots of email coming up your way. I don't know if... Oh, look, Willie has disappeared. And he's not only... he's not muted. He's just been working with David Copperfield lately.
I'll be right there.
Holy shit! he's totally invisible. But we can still hear him. Anyway, it's time to get ready to sing Happy Birthday for the second day in a row. Our next guest is born today, 30 years ago today. How about that? 30 years ago today, which means he's 30 years old. In case you don't know, Aaron Bullitt.
Had I taken a creative course, I could have done the math and learned.
I think you learned that in basic elementary school. But Aaron Bullitt is a dynamic comedian. Dynamic was an interesting word, and a freelance writer, and has been leaving audiences in stitches. Now, is he a comedian or a doctor? In stitches since 2018. Aaron Bullitt was. Today is his birthday, and he's from Lexington, Kentucky. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in.
Woo! What's going on? Thank you for having me on the show. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, but we don't pronounce, so it's Louisville, not Louisville.
Louisville.
But dog. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You good, sir?
No, like Louisville, CK.
Yeah, no, like, and that's the thing. Like, people are like, it's Louisville. Like, no, it's Louisville. We don't have any good education here in Kentucky. No, we don't pronounce certain vowels and acronyms. But
Louisville, not Louisville.
Like, it all has to slur together, like Louisville, like peanut butter on the top of your mouth, like Louisville.
You also mispronounced his first name. His first name is Aaron.
Aaron, right? Aaron. Aaron and Bullitt. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, when you come north, do you have to change your last name to Wizard? Because just up here, we had to get rid of the Bullets, and we had to replace them with the Wizards. I was just wondering, did you have to make that transition as well?
Yeah, I do. Well, usually I tell people that Bullitt, how I suppose, just like there's a county in Kentucky called Bullitt County. So, somebody owes me some land and money. So, but actually the transition is not hard. Sometimes I like to wear Bullets jerseys. I'm like, what is this? Where's these Wizards come from? I don't understand these Wizards. Which is an interesting basketball name because usually it's like birds and cats, but the Wizards, that was for their record. That was bold. I was like, Wizards.
It's not just a clan member; it's the chief clan member.
Right. Like, I want to speak the Grand Wizard. Like, sir, and I told my girlfriend what I want to do is I want to build like a fence around it, then put an American flag, right, and then every Sunday I just want to read the newspaper with a folding chair. Like, but I want my land right near the highway, so I want them to know a black man owns this land. Like, hello, morning, how's it going? Just waving hi. How's it going, everybody? How you doing?
Yeah.
now, Aaron, I have a question for you real quick. It says on your Facebook thing, it says that you are a digital creator. Yes, do you have any real children also? Or are you just creating them digital? I just wanted to know, do you have,
I mean, I have a lot of knuckle children, if that helps, but real children, no, I don't. I'm planning on the future. I want to have my own Jackson 5 situation, a little less beating, But I feel like we gotta make this money. This is America.
That's right.
You want to be Joe Jackson?
I feel like that man is an American icon. I feel like we really doubt this man's genius. And for example, right, he has turned triumph, right, tragedy to triumph. Like, for example, Michael Jackson, right?
True.
All those dance moves are just him avoiding an ass whooping. That's all he's doing, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah. He was just shucking and jiving out the way. Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like GB bounced himself. There might be some issues there related to beatings or something. He heard beatings and he bounced right out. He's like, I'm out of here.
I was gonna say Joe Jackson. Yeah, Joe Jackson did what slave owners could not do. He actually beat the talent into a bunch of black kids.
Right. And even those ass when we go, ooh, that's an ass whooping sound, sir. Like he's like, I'm gonna beat these kids to success. Yes, one might look like a plastic mannequin, but that's fine. That's the price of fame.
Yeah, I mean he did literally beat the black off of Michael. So I mean,
I just assumed that the Jackson 5 was the Osmond brothers doing blackface.
Like you would think that, but he's like, nope, we're keeping afros and just beat him. But my favorite, because I actually read a book on Michael Jackson, and what's so funny is like people are like, oh, you were abused, oh, it's so horrible. He's just like, I'm rich though, so it's fine. Like he wasn't that mad about it. He's like,
I mean, he was mindful though. He was definitely mindful that his early fame affected him greatly. You know what I mean? He definitely realized that, because when you watch some of those interviews, his whole thing about children and wanting to be around kids and enjoy time with them is because he didn't have that shit. He was on fucking tour, and he didn't get to be a kid. And so like his defense to those things was that he was trying to reclaim parts of his childhood that he was not able to have.
It's hard for me to feel sympathy for a kid that was, because every other person, normal people who saw people like that, wanted that life, wanted to be stars, wanted to be rich and famous and all that stuff. And so when you hear kids complaining about that, don't you realize that you were the envy of every other kid in the world who was seeing you at the time? Maybe not, but it's really hard to empathize and sympathize with the poor me. I was rich and famous, and I had my childhood stolen from me. Like most of us would have gladly sold our childhood.
I hated Michael Jackson. Yeah, I hated Michael Jackson because I was like, wait a minute, I can dance like that, I can sing like that, but my brothers and sisters were like stuck on drugs and shit. And I was like, I was so upset with my family. I hated my family.
First of all, get up. Let's see your moves. Let me hear you do. I want you back. Come on.
Right now, at my age, I have the same talent level as Michael Jackson does at the same age. So yeah,
and this man had like Elizabeth Taylor buying, and I agree with you, because like I feel the same way, because that's one of my jokes on stage, the Michael Jackson joke, and people cringe, and I'm like, yes, I agree with you, sir. Like technically Michael Jackson had everything, but I guess the way I kind of rationalize it is like that's like saying, okay, as a black person in America, it's like a white person being like, oh, it's not that bad, slavery's over, you don't got to worry about it. I think it's all relative. I think it's more about like, for him, just having that self-awareness and seeing like, okay, well, I like, because technically he wasn't necessarily born into fame. He was like what, 12? So he was still able to see like, okay, this is what it's like to be normal, but then this is what it's also like to be famous. Plus, they were like Jehovah's Witness, so they were all birthdays and all.
Right? Yeah, they didn't get birthdays and shit like that. Yeah.
You would have thought that would be a good way to get people to actually listen. They start breaking into I want you back on the doorstep, and then you're like, okay, I'm listening to this, and now they break out.
They said, instead of saying, have you heard the good news? They go up and says, have you heard the new album by the Jackson 5?
Then had Tito just play it in the back. Boom. Like, then Joe Jackson be about a mailbox, just like have a go. Yes. If you don't buy this album, I will hit my kids later. Like it's a guarantee. Yeah. Give me 7. Give me 7 albums. Just leave the kids alone.
Watchtower should have just had pictures of the Jacksons on the cover, and the Jehovah's Witnesses would have blown up like crazy.
That's why Scientology is doing with Tom Cruise, and yeah.
Don't you dare say Tom Hanks.
No,
hey, Tom
Aaron.
Hanks is a saint, sir. He's an American.
No, there was a mistake. Aaron, now according to your unofficial bio that I kind of like looked at on Facebook, you in your heart you're a writer. In your essence you're a writer. So what's your favorite thing you wrote that nobody's going to see because you wrote it before you were famous?
Like what's something that I've written that
you've written that you really love, but nobody knows about it because nobody gave a shit because you're not famous.
I think the most I was in the 10th grade and I wrote this monologue. So my teacher was like, write a monologue about someone that you admire. So people were doing like
enough about me. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about you.
Yes,
enough about me.
Doing like, oh, by the way, I like your whole Groucho Marx cigar. I like that. Very classy, sir. Yeah, it's very classy.
I didn't even notice the similarity.
But
so you talk yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So my monologue was from Malcolm X, and it was from the perspective of how he viewed things. And the monologue was just simply like people don't understand him, because he was a man he lived the embodiment of what it meant to be a black man. He had a father. He saw his father die at a young age. Was a pastor. He went through the system. He moved with his sister to Boston. He saw the street life. He was engaged with it. He went to prison. He gained his GED. So, and in the monologue, it was just showing that sometimes it's not necessarily about someone being violent or someone being nonviolent. It's more about their life experience. And I wrote that, and it was like 2 pages. And it was funny because like after that, because I played football at that point, my teacher was like, "Hey, you're really smart. You want to do this course with you at the University of Louisville where you learn how to screenwrite and everything." I was like, "Gay?" I was like, "No, I'm not doing that." No, but now it's funny. Then like 10 years later, I'm like, "Oh, I guess I am gay. I guess I'm writing screenplays." So, but no, that's something I've written, and honestly, I wish I could like find it. And for me, I just like writing because I think. That's why I'm sympathetic to the whole SAG situation with writing, because I think it's a key component. It's like it's stand up, right? Like,
oh yeah,
if you don't write, like I meet so many comics that are like they have the charisma, they go on stage. When it comes to writing, and it's like, to me, it's like exercising, right? You just got to do it every day. And for me, how I usually write is I just write ideas. So like I'm a premise guy, so usually like if I come up with a joke like that Michael Jackson joke, I was literally just watching the American Dream documentary with my girlfriend. I thought those are ass whooping, right? And then I take that premise and I write just everything I think about it. And then what I do is I like cross it out. So I think writing is very undervalued. I think writing is not only just for self-expression. I think everyone should do it, but just as a comic in general, I think writing's important because it helps you process, helps you learn things. And like you said, you taking notes, which I enjoy, and I can tell just listening backstage. I'm like, I'm gonna have a ball with these guys. You guys are. I love that your sense of humor is awesome. And I thank you again for having me on the show. But I'm a ranter, but I do like I have squirrel moments, so like I might go here and there. So you say, "Aaron, shut the fuck up."
We've talked to Tommy Chung, so you don't have to worry.
Oh yeah, but again, dude, the thing that was so crazy about when Tommy was on is because he did that. He would go on like you'd ask a question, and he would start to go on, and he would start to kind of answer, and then it would veer off into like 3 or 4 different stories. But then this 85-year-old dude would come back around and like re-answer the question you asked fucking 12 minutes ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
And maybe he's just like you. He was on a delay and it just heard it. But I want to come back to this writing thing, because last night I got sucked into a YouTube video about Louis C.K. It was an hour and 20 minutes long about Louis C.K. Tells you everything you ever wanted to know about Louis C.K. Back to Louisville. But it started with talking about how when he was young, he was this like prolific writer, but like a detailed guy who would deconstruct jokes and go over it and why is it funny and all that stuff, and work really hard at crafting jokes. later on, Joe Rogan, just within the last year, was asking him about how he writes now, and really he'll just write down a premise and not go any further and work it out on stage. And so he doesn't do any more writing. So that's his evolution from going to be a guy who was so meticulous, detailed, deconstructing jokes, working on it forever and ever before he brought it to stage, to a point now where he just writes down a premise, an idea, and works it out on stage, and will remember it. And I think it's important because I think now he's brilliant. Listen, we can talk about the kings of comedy and the people who are, but I think he belongs up in the top echelon of great stand-up comedians of all time. And I think that's what led to that evolution, is what led to him getting there. Just putting that out there, and you guys can comment on it. Anyway.
No, I think that's great, and that's kind of what I tell people, especially that are just getting into stand-up, because like, screenwriting. Look, I've written some screen stuff and sketches, and that's different, right? Because you do have to be kind of precise, because you're going like, even with that, that's why I kind of, to add to your point, I like the Larry David. That's what he kind of does, right? So when he writes Curb Enthusiasm, he writes down like, okay, this is the episode. Maybe some funny shit in between, and then. But I agree with you on that. I think that's what I think about writing. I think it's more about figuring yourself out. Like, there's no exact way to write a joke, or there's no exact way to get on stage. And for me, I was in the Navy. I worked in admin, so I'm really used to taking like bullet point notes. So yes, I was a secretary. I'm man enough to admit that. I said administrative executive, but I'm not fucking I'm not taking your orders and doing laundry. I just won't do it. And like, I had a sidebar real quick. I had a guy be like, make my coffee. And I was like, no, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not. But
what if he outranked you? What if he was like, outranked you?
He outranked me, but I'm like, well, you can outrank me, but I guess you're not going to go home. Like, that's my barter system. Well, you outrank me, but you're not going to go home. Like, I will put this paper in my desk, and I will make sure you will never see it. And when you ask me about it, I'll be like, what paper? Huh? What? Paper?
Right. Talk about paper cuts. That shit hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. But
at the office party, it brought a whole new meaning to taking a bullet. If you know.
No, but it's funny. It's funny though, because it's statute limitation. But when I was in the Navy, like my last day on my ship, an aircraft carrier, like everybody was like, "Bullet, can you do all this paperwork before you leave?" I'm like, "Fuck!" So I had like this much paperwork. I put in like the small, like, you know how like they have like desks, right? I had one drawer, and I was like, "Yeah, man, look, I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna get to it, cool, right?" So for like 2 weeks, I'm just lying to people, like, "Yeah, man, hey, that you want to see your wife next Thursday? Hey, man, you want to? I'll do what? See her on Monday. Just come by, right?" So I had all this paperwork, and my last day, I'm like, "Hey guys, I'll be right back." And they're like, "We're gonna do a party, all this shit. We'll do turnover." I left that day, and I took that key and I threw it in the water, and I was like, "Good luck, bitches. Good luck."
Aaron, they sent me the paperwork that you hadn't finished.
You found it. Oh, great.
Yeah, so we're going to go over this. We're going to go over this. Now, there's a requisition for no.
I'm about to say, well, I'm telling you right now, I'm just gonna say no, all of it. Nope.
Yeah, but, you can disregard him anyway. His last day.
Yeah. I thought you'd be a great captain. You'd be like, it's fine. He's good. Don't worry about it. He doesn't have to do it. But go ahead.
Tell me about
I'm taking my robots and I'm going home.
Oh yeah, no, that was I don't think most people today would even. Well, do you know about those things?
Yeah, Rock'em Sock'em
Robots? Are you kidding me, bro?
That is.
I'm a child of the '80s, dude. How would I not know about Rock'em Sock'em?
Because that was a toy of the '50s.
Yeah, but okay, hang on. I grew up in the Midwest, which is already 20 years behind no matter what, period. Okay? I grew up poor as fucking shit. Now, I'll say this. I've never played with Rock'em Sock'em robots. That's a little pricier than the toys I got to play with as a kid. I had the little green army men, and I had like the fucking Lincoln logs that you could build a fucking house with the green fucking shingle thing. Yeah. I had and a Tonka truck.
Shingles?
I had a Tonka truck that my dad played with. You know what I mean? Like, and that's another thing. Like, I literally, like, I bet you I had at least 10 toys that were my dad's toys for sure, like 100%. And the crib, the
non-toxic
the bassinet I stayed in was my dad's. Huh?
The non-toxic butt plugs.
No, I like the toxic ones. You know, I gotta keep that toxicity level up.
Keeps the party going. Get the keeps on giving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did your dad make you like wear his old condoms, and that's why you have 7 kids?
I don't think my dad used condoms. We were Catholic.
That's what I'm saying. Used condoms. Are those your dad's? Were those your dad's used condoms? That's what I'm saying. And that's why you have.
No, I'm saying my dad didn't use condoms. We were Catholic.
They were like, it's against the religion, sir.
That's a thing among Catholics. They don't believe in contraceptives, you know.
Oh, wow. Every sperm is sacred.
Yeah,
every sperm is great.
Yeah.
If a sperm is wasted, God gets quite irate. Okay, sorry. Let's see Michael Jackson do that.
I am lost. I've lost control of the car. It's spinning helplessly out of control. Aaron in Louisville is there. Louisville. I'm going to practice saying that. Louisville. Is there a thriving comedy scene, comedy club scene there, or you looking? I mean, when you have to perform, does it have to be in like bars and music venues and that kind of stuff? Because I'm just curious.
Looking for jokes in all the wrong places.
Looking for all the wrong places, back alleys, peepholes, glory holes. Everyone. We're like a whole comedy. Like if there was a hole, we'll fill it. But there is actually a comedy scene. So it's small, like compared to like Cincy, LA, New York. But there is. So the best thing about our comedy scene. So there's the Comedy Caravan, which is like the oldest comedy club. Then there's a Louisville Comedy Club, which is like a chain. It's like Burger King for comedy, you just have several different places.
Right.
Then there's more, but there is more like, we call it alt comedy, but it's just bars and shit. You know what I mean? Someone's basement, random shit. You know what I mean? Someone's in house arrest. They're like, hey, I got to pass the time. But the best thing about the Louisville comedy scene is that it's like kind of small to where you can do whatever you want to. So like, if you want to start your own thing at a bar, that's cool. If you want to do the comedy clubs, that's great. Like for me, I put on my own shows. Had my own venue, so it's a great scene. There's a lot of talent. It's just Louisville's a place that usually build your talent. You grow, build a name, and then you try to move to a big city. So lately, there's been a big shift to a lot of Louisville comics going to Cincinnati. Like they just had the funniest person in Cincy. A guy named Will McKenzie won it from here. He hosted over the weekend, but that's kind of the name of the game. Is like you go to like Indy, Cincy, Nashville, that's kind of how you get your exposure. But Louisville's like just a hub of you grow. It's like the gym, right? It's like a Rocky 3, right? That's where you go train with Apollo and you get better and better before you fight Clubber Lang, which is one of my favorite. I love a good Rocky movie. Sidebar, but I mean, I didn't go to the movies, but I did feel when he beat communism. I felt that. I was like, I'm an American. I felt it. Felt good.
So Louisville's like Louisville. It's a difficult thing for me to adapt to.
You can pronounce it. It's okay. Just for today.
Louisville.
Yes.
Yeah.
That hurts.
College town, right? So you got a lot of young people there. It is.
Well, you mean just in general? I say the comedy scene. It tends to be a little older. Just because usually most comedians move, so they go to a bigger city and they thrive. Right now there's actually been I'm 20, I'm 30 actually, yeah, me, but I started at 24. I was 24 when I started, or 25. So when I started, it was much older, but now years go by, you're starting to see more younger comics come and start their own thing, which is dope. But I would definitely say it's an older crowd, just because most people just don't stick around. You have a couple guys that stick around and try to mentor or give opportunities, but the name of the game is stay in Louisville, build your fan base, build yourself as much as you can, but go to New York, go to LA. Like that's actually where I'm at right now. I'm actually working on my first 30 minutes. Usually I do 20, but I'm working on a good 30 minutes. I want to build that up. I want to go to LA. I want to go to New York. For me personally, I feel like that's the name of the game, is getting bigger and better. It's like sports. Like, okay, you do high school, college, I want to go to the league. I'll put me in the game, coach.
If I can, Wichita, Kansas, or Sioux Falls, Idaho, are not on your. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm sorry, I said Idaho.
Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. I'll go. It's a party everywhere we go. So no, I feel like comedy. I mean, ultimately, I don't mind traveling because I've been to Memphis. I've been to let's see. I'm going to New York later in the beginning of the year. I've been to Arkansas, Memphis. So for me, funny is funny, and I feel like that's the best part about comedy is you can go to a big city and so for here, for example, like the comedy scene here is more traditional, like 80s, kind of like stand with a mic and do this and this. Versus if you go somewhere else, like I've been to, let's see, the biggest place I've ever gone to was, I want to say, I guess Chicago, right? And you do a mic there, and they're just like, I don't give a fuck. Like it's all about ideas.
I've heard of Chicago.
Yeah, so when you somewhere like Louisville, the best way I can describe it is for someone that doesn't know comedy, if you're in a bigger city, you come to Louisville to make your money. That's where you make your money. You go to the Midwest, make your money. You go and build up. And don't get me wrong, there is Bloomington where they have a bunch of comedy festivals. But for me, comedy is all just about uniting people. And I feel like playing a small club in South Dakota versus going to a fucking packed arena in San Diego it's no different. It's just you might have to tweak small things, but everybody kind of has their own things that unite them. So for me, I don't shy away from anything.
There are subtle differences here, because most of the places that you mentioned, you're not going to get the touristy, but New York and LA in comedy clubs, you almost half the room is bound to be people who are not from there, and they could be from anywhere in the world. So there's that. But you mentioned the older crowd, and maybe it's just a local thing, but the people I talk to who are over 40 in this area, not big fans of the comedy club experience. And everybody, I get the same fucking shit from everybody, is that they think they're funnier than the comedians they can go pay to see at a comedy club. And I have to kind of talk them off the ledge and say, no, the fact that you made your brother laugh is not indicative that you a professional comedian and all this kind of stuff. But I get that all the time here. We see when I go out to comedy clubs a lot for a guy my age, actually for anybody. But I'm seeing young people who are going to comedy clubs. I'm seeing more people 25, 35. But I think 35 is a hard age. Then you see some older people going there. But most of the people I talk to, older people, just don't want to go to comedy clubs. They have little faith in that being a good choice to go out for entertainment. And I think it's cyclical. It comes up and down. But right now, it's the older people have got this mentality about comedy clubs. We have to get off. Speaking of comedy clubs.
Yeah, we got to get our guns. Yeah.
Governor's Comedy Club, we're saying goodbye for the day. It's been a pleasure. Tonight, Stand Up University starts at the Brokerage in Belmore. You want to check that out. Somebody
Are you attending that class?
I'm supposed to. I don't. It's a long drive, and I've had a very long weekend. And I have to take the brother-in-law to the airport again today. So I don't know. I want to, but you know what? At my age, when you drive 200 miles in a day, you don't want to go out and drive another 100 miles at night. So